Hello, everyone. This is Bill Griffin. Welcome to Different Take Podcast. If you like this content, please subscribe, like, share, comment. Really appreciate you watching. New episodes Tuesdays and Thursdays. In doing this podcast, I'll make a list of topics, episodes that I think are interesting, and then something will come along and I shift that topic up. And this just occurred a few days ago, so I wanted to share this with you. It is an interview Joe Biden did with someone, a series of interviews with different people. This person's name is Dylan Mulvaney. This was done October 23rd, 2022. You can find this on pretty easily, entitled Joe Biden Answers Burning Questions of Our Young People. And now this. I'd never heard of that, but at any rate, Dylan Mulvaney asks this question. This is a person who's very proud of the fact that it's a man who is transitioning.
But many states have lawmakers that feel like they can involve themselves in this very personal process. Do you think states should have a right to ban gender-affirming health care?
I don't think any state or anybody should have the right to do that. As a moral question and as a legal question. I just think it's wrong.
So this is now President of the United States saying it's okay for a surgeon to destroy the reproductive organs of a minor. Because he does not discuss the age, he does not discuss, as you see later, people don't discuss parental consent when on the left, when they talk about this. People that are on the left, this is their issue. This has happened very quickly. This sort of idea that it's in the mainstream. It's taken as a given that this is a medical procedure that is absolutely necessary. Does Joe Biden really believe this? I doubt it. He has been a political animal all his life, and of course he's obviously suffering from some sort of senility. But he is probably told by his advisors, this is how you should answer this, because this is the position that the left holds. This is Jon Stewart on a show called The Problem, which I don't think very many people watch this, but it's on Apple TV. But he's interviewing Arkansas Attorney General on their state's decision to ban procedures which are called gender-affirming care, which includes irrevocable changes to someone's body. That is a minor, and that could include, as I said, destroying the reproductive organs of a minor.
Why would the state of Arkansas step in to override parents, physicians, psychiatrists, endocrinologists who have developed guidelines? Why would you override those guidelines?
Well, I think it's important that all of those physicians, all of those experts, for every single one of them, there's an expert that says we don't need to allow children to be able to take those medications. That there are many instances where...
But you know that's not.
So Jon Stewart presents this as a given. The Attorney General's name is Leslie Rutledge. As he said, she's Arkansas Attorney General. Jon Stewart is very condescending in this interview. He presents this as a given, that this person is an outlier, out of the mainstream. What are you thinking? All of the medical associations, all the doctors, it's a vast majority of doctors, are all in on the idea that it's okay and it should be legal to destroy the reproductive organs of a minor. They don't get into the details of gender-affirming care, so you have to assume this. There's no way you can't assume this because that's included in gender-affirming care. Rachel Levine has been the spokesperson for this. That used to be Richard Levine. Anyway, I'll show a clip of that in a second. This happened very fast, this idea that it's okay to do this and it should be legal. But Jon Stewart has taken it to another level. It's very condescending, interrupts several times. I'm not familiar that familiar with Jon Stewart. He comes across to me as being sort of mean-spirited and arrogant, and I never really watched his programs. I know he's on the Daily Show, but it seems to me he's not that funny. But you have to assume that what he's saying in his interview, if you watch much of it, is that it doesn't matter what age. There's no age limit. 17, 10, 7 could do this if the parents choose to do this, and the doctors say it needs to be done. He interviews a parent in another episode who claims that their child at 4 years old, who was assigned, I think that's a hilarious term, not hilarious, but it would be hilarious if it weren't so sad, that someone's assigned. It's an arbitrary decision by the doctor to assign sex at birth, but their boy, who claims to be a girl at the age of 4 years old, and the parent with a straight face says this was a life-changing moment for them. And then they treated this child as a girl for the remainder of their, until this day. So if this is absolutely necessary, Jon Stewart doesn't discuss, well, who pays for this? If it's absolutely medical necessary, it seems like a pretty serious thing to do, to destroy reproductive organs, whether you're a minor or not. Well, the minor, pretty serious thing, so it has to be absolutely necessary. So you would think the federal government or the state government would mandate that insurance companies cover this so that it's not out-of-pocket expense. Providers will perform these procedures how they make their money. It's a profit center to perform these procedures. It has to be. Now, do the doctors who do this, I'm not saying that they're doing this solely for profit, but they do get paid, and they do get paid quite well to do these procedures. And so the state will mandate that insurance companies cover it, or the state will cover it. Universal health care, this would be part of the health care. It's happened in other countries around the world, and then subsequently they've stopped doing this. These procedures where you destroy the reproductive organs of minor. But Jon Stewart presents this, if you don't agree with this, that you're unreasonable. You're outside the mainstream. It is unreasonable because these medical associations and organizations have all said that this is necessary. It's hard to believe that the vast majority of physicians go along with this procedure. That's hard to believe. As I said, this happened very fast, not that long ago, a year and a half or a little more, February 2021, Rachel Levine, formerly Richard Levine, born a male, is testifying and may have had the transition, may have had their genitals mutilated, who knows, is testifying in Congress. This is a confirmation hearing. Rand Paul asked the question.
Dr. Levine, do you believe that minors are capable of making such a life-changing decision as changing one's sex?
Well, Senator, thank you for your interest in this question. Transgender medicine is a very complex and nuanced field with robust research and standards of care that have been developed. And if I am fortunate enough to be confirmed as the Assistant Secretary of Health, I would look forward to working with you and your office and coming to your office and discussing the particulars of the standards of care for transgender medicine.
The specific question was about minors. Let's be a little more specific since you evaded the question.
So Senator Rand Paul is interviewing the nominee for, I think it's Assistant Secretary, Health Secretary, completely avoids answering the question. So you wonder, well, why would not answer the question? Because that's clearly what you believe. But subsequently, not that long after, there was an op-ed, and I did an episode on this, where Rachel Levine claims that this is necessary to perform this procedure of body mutilation on minors was medically necessary. Rachel Levine does not answer the question. Here's another clip where he asks a question a little different way.
That minors don't have full rights and the parents need to be involved. So I'm alarmed that you won't say with certainty that minors should not have the ability to make the decision to take hormones that will affect them for the rest of their life. Will you make a more firm decision on whether or not minors should be involved in these decisions?
The first question Rachel Levine's asked, do you think minors have the capability to make the decision to have their reproductive organs destroyed? The second question is, will you ever come to this conclusion? Or will you tell us? Not at the hearing, but at any point in time. The answer Rachel Levine gives is identical, almost verbatim to the first answer. The idea that you could do this to a minor without parental consent, because Joe Biden does not mention this, Jon Stewart does not mention this, Rachel Levine subsequently, after this interview, after she gets, she gets confirmed, I don't know what the personal pronouns are for Rachel Levine, but after Rachel Levine gets confirmed, it's the state's responsibility, that's absolutely necessary, and the parents does not mention this, that the parents have any authority or role in this decision at all. This has become so much of the mainstream. On the left, they're trying to push this as mainstream, that it's a given that these procedures are absolutely necessary. And if a person turns 18 years old, they can make their own decisions. But if they're a minor, it's sort of amazing that they get to, that the left really believes that the minors should be able to legally have the capacity, legally can make the decision to do these gender affirming, as they say, gender affirming care procedures, which include genitalia mutilation. It's become so mainstream that I saw this as proposed material taught in public school. I found this as part of the proposed Gwinnett County, Georgia public school system curriculum for health class in middle school. This is from Health Smart, grade 5. You can find this on the Gwinnett County Public School website, or I guess you can find it Health Smart under the title Abstinence, Puberty, Personal Health. This lesson emphasizes the importance of respecting self-expression in oneself and others. Is that health? I guess so. Students read stories about kids their age and discuss whether they think the character is a boy or a girl or unclear and why. They learn terms related to gender roles and expression and discuss why it is important to respect the different ways different people may express themselves around gender. After revisiting a story about a child who is bullied due to gender expression, they create a text message campaign to encourage peers to accept and respect diversity. If you go deeper into this, they go through all the terms regarding sexual orientation. I won't bore you with all of that. This is introduced as, in my opinion, as an option. This is an option for you to think about, that you may have been raised by your parent as a boy or girl, but you may make the decision that's not true. You may want to go a different way. So this is taught as an option. And when you talk about personal pronouns and introducing, asking that question, what is your personal pronouns? Or everybody else is saying what their personal pronouns are, so you feel pressure to do that as middle school. If you've ever had a middle school student in your household, you'll know what I'm talking about. And this is presented as an option. And if you're not considering it as an option, you're out of the mainstream. You can go through a lot of the other sex ed curriculum that they're proposing, and many of it It's really in the realm of parenting. This is averse to what many parents. But on the left, they want the state to raise the children because the parents aren't capable of doing it. So they're all in favor of the state doing this. And then under the banner of, well, parents should have the freedom of letting their children destroy their reproductive organs as freedom. Not that maybe the parents are abusing their child. Isn't it possible that a parent could abuse a child? It's possible that they would have the child raise the child even as the opposite assigned sex at birth and mutilate their own children. It's possible. Or the guardian. Is it really important that an 11-year-old know that destroying their ability to reproduce is an option? Do they really need to know that when they're 11 years old? Well, some educator thinks so, or this curriculum wouldn't have been written that way. This is kind of all signs point to the state will raise children, not parents. The state will. So if you believe that you should raise your child as a boy or as a girl, and the state's coming in saying, no. And teachers have influence over children if they're allowed. And I think that's what's going on in a lot of areas, not just this particular area. The left is pushing this option very hard. I don't think all Democrats agree with this. The idea that it's okay for a surgeon to perform these procedures. And I mentioned it so many times in this episode, I don't think I'll mention it again. But the leftist media and the media personalities such as Jon Stewart and Joe Biden, and they're pushing this so that it is portraying people that do not believe that they believe that the state should prevent these procedures for minors. So if you do this at 18 years old, I don't think many people have a problem with it. Who pays for it? Now that's a different story. But to actually prohibit the procedures, if you believe this, you're an outlier. You are unenlightened, you're uninformed, you're ignorant, and you don't treat other people with respect. You're bigoted. It is discriminatory if this is not taught as an option in public school. Not only to middle schoolers, but to elementary schools. So that's what's going on, and this has happened very, very fast. Joe Biden would have never, ever said this while he was vice president, which wasn't that long ago. He was vice president in 2016. And he certainly wouldn't have said this in 1974 or whenever he got elected. These folks didn't believe this stuff back then. So you make up your own mind. I'm curious to see what your opinion is. Please comment, subscribe, share, like this episode if you like the content. And new episodes Tuesdays and Thursdays. Thanks for watching.